There we go. Hello, everyone. Raymond Moore, Kilty Prepper. How's everybody doing today? Coffee with Ray. So, give a couple of moments for folks to get in the room here. Coffee with Ray. So, hope is everybody's having a great Tuesday morning today. Um, thought I'd have show you guys some of my survival books. The reason I said that is because I've had several folks in the comments actually ask me, what does my survival library look like? And so I thought I would share some of these books with you. And these are not your typical survival book libraries that you would find. Hey, Lori, how you doing? But I kind of have some unusual books, and a lot of my books are actually older books. I tend to go to used bookstores and everything because one of the things that I've noticed is that our era at this moment and everything has seemed to have forgotten a lot of the lost knowledge. And so I like a lot of old books because there's a lot of stuff that is talked about in these books that you really can't find in books today. So what I try to share with you is some of the what I consider survival books for today's people, basically realistic prepping for real people. And so let's see, starting off here. Let's, this is probably one of my favorite books, and especially in today's world, this is called the Tightwad Gazette, and it's rather thick. And it's actually a compilation of a number of books by Amy Daceren. What's her name? Dacian, or I can't say her last name. Hey, Chantal. Hey, Kim. Good to see you. But this is an excellent book for today's world that we are living in because she has a boatload of suggestions on how to basically save money, how to extend things, how to extend food, basically anything and everything that you can think about. She has money saving tips in this book that will help everybody. And I think this is a very important survival book for today's times because the economy is going to crap. And so, everywhere we need to be able to see, save money and improve things or stretch things and everything. And so, I've really found this a helpful book. And a lot of the books that I'm going to be showing you is more reference style. At least that's how I use them, is reference style. And so there's just all kinds of things. Let's see if I can show you some stuff here. Just gas versus electric. Uh, you know, showing different tools and gardening ideas and tips and tricks on that. I mean, just incredible stuff. And you see, I'm just flipping to anything, and there is great, information. So this is a really good book. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put links to as many of his books that I can show you but some of my books are very outdated and you can't find them. So first off, the Tightwad Gazette. Highly, highly recommend this book. Very, very good. Jumping to, let's see, medical. I'm a big medical person, and probably the best book out there is Survival Medicine by Joseph and Amy, aka Doc Bones Nurse Amy. But again, super thick, uh, great book. Guys don't know what Doc Bones Nurse Amy looked like. There they are. And I love this book. They have done an incredible job. Um, Something I like here, color pictures and everything. This is, I want to say this probably runs about 50, $60. Totally worth it. If you're going to have one medical book in your library, this is the one to have. and I really, really recommend this. Another book, and I can't find it anywhere, I was looking everywhere, is a book also called Where There Is No Doctor. In fact, if you email me, ray@raymondmoore.com, ray@raymondmoore.com, and in the subject line say Where There Is No Doctor, I'll send you a PDF of Where There Is No Doctor, and then I also have a PDF of Where There Is No Dentist. Be glad to send those to you. Just email me, let me know, hey, will you send me these books? And I'll send you the PDFs. But those are also two other books that I would highly recommend that you put into your library as well. But if you're only being able to have one medical book, I would say this is it. And so great, great book. Following up with that, Doc Bones, Nurse Amy, or Doc Bones actually wrote probably the best book on antibiotics. And what he focuses a lot on is fish antibiotics. And a lot of people, oh, you can't get antibiotics anymore. And you can still get fish antibiotics out there. And so it's knowing what to get, what to, where to find it and everything. And if you go to their website, I think, what is it? What is it? Their website is, I can't find it here real quickly, but anyways, check out their website. They have several online places that you can get fish antibiotics. And if you crack the bottles open and you look at them, it's the same antibiotics everybody takes anyways. So I'm really a big fan of taking his advice, but I have actually referenced this book quite often because of infections or this, that, or the other or anything. But again, another medical book that I would super highly recommend. And again, I'll be putting links to all these books and stuff down in the descriptions. But this is a book that I would also totally get. So this book and this book would be the ones that I would have for my medicals. So, but again, Doc Bones, Alton's Antibiotics. Great, great book. Now, going to a different direction here. Another one of my books that I totally love, and it's very hard to find. I'm a collector of old books because, again, old books is old knowledge. That's forgotten knowledge that a lot of us have forgotten. But this is, and you can still probably find this at used bookstores. You can pick it up every once in a while on Amazon. And, this is called the Victory Garden Cookbook, or the Victory Cookbook. And this book was produced during World War II. And why I like this is because it's the wartime edition. And if you go to the back, you're going to have basically a book within a book. And it has you showing you how to basically, where I'm going to find some of this. Come on. But where is this? Doggone it. Yeah, I'm finding it here. But it has basically cooking during the wartime. And again, it's a book within the book. And they have some very interesting recipes on, and during the wartime, they really had to cook with reduced items. You couldn't get hold of butter, you couldn't get hold of eggs, you couldn't get hold of meat too much. And so they really, during the wartime, this book, really worked hard at alternate stuff. For example, here, they're talking about cooking with artichokes or cooking with beets, or cooking with Dixie chicken and rice and chicken. So really stretching that food. But again, some of these just very common, old recipes that we've forgotten about during these days and times. And again, this book you can still find it every once in a while if you're looking for it at used bookstores, or sometimes you can find it for sale. Someone is selling it on Amazon. Now, if you are going to find this on Amazon, be prepared to pay probably $50 for it. But this has got to be one of my favorite cookbooks in the world. I reference this all the time because it's just great cooking. And something that we need to think about: how and why has Americans become so stinking obese? Well, our diet has changed. And so if we would go back to the diet that our grandparents and great grandparents were eating, you know what? It would be, we'd start be looking good. Look at those pictures of people in the 1950s and early 60s. Do you think all those people were going to the gym? Heck no. They were eating a good diet. And so this is why I like these old books. They have great food, great diets, and it's what our great grandparents used to eat. So check this one out. This is called the Victory Cookbook, Wartime Edition. So if you can find it, get it. Or if you can just get the Victory Cookbook in and of itself, because I do know that they have it out there. Look for it. It's from the 1940s, but really, really good book. On the same thing as for cooking, another one, and this is by Stephanie Peterson, Meals in a Jar. And I use this one a lot in conjunction with, my cookbook is, Prepper's Hints, Tips and Tricks, Bizarre Recipes for Your Dehydrator. And so, again, I just wrote this. This is really becoming a very popular book. It's rising up in the Amazon ranks and everything, not only in dehydrator, but food storage, as well as survival cooking. So those are the three categories that I seem to be, rising up. But this is not your typical dehydrating book. And, I give you a lot of unusual recipes. Again, realistic stuff that you can do, other things that you can do, like fermenting, creating or fermenting your sourdough starter, fermenting what's called tempeh, which is a Japanese fermented soybean dish that's very good for the gut, very good for you. But I give a lot of different recipes in my Prepper's Hits, Tips, and Bizarre Recipes for your dehydrator. And again, I'll be putting the links to these down in the bottom. But I say that because it goes along with meals in a jar. And I love doing meals in a jar. And one of the things that we do is anytime we cook dinner and I have leftovers, I instantly put the leftovers into the dehydrator, and I keep a mason jar by the dehydrator. And anytime that we have these sort of leftovers and everything, I'll add it to this mason jar. And eventually I fill up the mason jar with all these veggies. If there's any meat, I'll trim all the fat off, dehydrate it as well, cube it up, dehydrate it, throw it in the jar. And eventually what happens is the jar fills up. I throw a couple bouillon cubes and everything in there, and boom, you basically have a meal in the jar. But Stephanie's done a great job of actually creating meals in a jar, and she uses a lot of dehydrated food because she has a dehydrator. So something I highly, highly recommend. This is a great way of saving money and utilizing your leftovers in a big way. Another book that I'm a big fan of, and you can still find this on Amazon. It'll probably be something about $30 or so. But it is out of print, but there's still a lot of copies of it out there. And it's Marlene's Magic with Food Storage. And what she's done here is that she gives you not only recipes, but she gives you a buying outline. So week 1, you want to buy this, this, and this. Week 2, you want to buy that, that, and that. And then she teaches you how to cook with all these things. Now, a lot of the stuff that she talks about, we as preppers already have. So she uses a lot of wheat berries and rice and a lot of the food storage sort of things, as well as canned meats, Spam, canned chicken and so forth. But this is a great book because a lot of us have survival food and everything. What the heck do I cook? And how do I make a meal out of wheat berries? Or how do I make a meal out of barley? And this book covers it. Great, great book. And this is one that I super highly recommend because it will really help you. And if you're just, you're getting all these preps and everything going, what the heck do I cook with? This is the book to have. So let's see here. Again, around the food section here is pre-1974. Let's see what is, I forget, but I want to say it's pre 1972 or 1974. This book is called Stocking Up. You can actually still get this on Amazon, the newer versions and everything. But if you get the pre 1974 version, it covers a lot on smoking and preserving those sort of foods. And the reason they changed the book is because smoking and barbecue causes cancer and it's bad for you. And so look at getting the book Stocking Up. You can find these probably again at the used bookstore if you can find it, and find it's the pre excuse me 1974 or 1972. I forget again. It's it will have a lot of the smoking and curing and everything. And the reason that they're you know they changed the format is because they're using what's called pink salt. And a lot of people are freaking out over pink salt. People are allergic to it and so forth and so on. But if you're looking at a complete book on storing food in all different manners, drying, smoking, curing, salt barrels, brines, I mean, you name it, they have it. How to store your vegetables long term, how to store your fruits long term. This is the book. And again, a lot of this is forgotten knowledge if you get the pre 1974 version. And again, you can find them out there in the used bookstores rather easily. I have several versions of this book actually, but I have 2 copies of the 74. And again, it's utilizing curing methods that in today's world people freak out over, especially in the meat arena and the egg arena. But there's salmonella and this and that and blah blah blah. And, oh no, pink salt is not good for you because it causes cancer and whatever. But our great grandparents used to use these methods and everything. And so I find this book really, really good. Get it. Now, jumping to a different topic, nuclear war. This has probably got to be the greatest book in the world. If you are concerned about EMP and nuclear war, then this is the one for you. In fact, this one has already been updated, as you can say, regarding Ukraine, Russia, and the world. So he's included a lot of information of what's going on there and everything. But this is probably the Bible when it comes to nuclear war and survival. Now, interesting thing is when you read this, it will completely change your mindset and help you understand nuclear war is survivable, even with the nuclear winter and all that other junk that keeps putting on. I don't know if you remember, there was a movie that came out in the 70s, and that total propaganda film. And what was it called? The Day After, I believe is what it was. And so, basically what happened is a bunch of bombs went off in the middle of Kansas and everything. And, it was just doom and gloom and people's hair falling out and skin rotting off and teeth falling out. I mean, again, it was a total propaganda film. I remember it scared the crap out of me, and prayed to God that we never had nuclear war or anything. And so total propaganda flick. This book proves it all wrong, because that movie had such an influence on the American public that that information became doctrine, and it's completely bullcrap. And so nuclear war is survivable. And when you start reading this and you start understanding and everything, then it will really help you get a firm grasp on nuclear survival. Now, do I want to have survive nuclear and everything? Yeah, it's good, but it's hard to, when you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to go where the bomb is so I can just be evaporated, and everybody's going to die because radiation poisoning and all this other stuff. And again, he will totally change your mindset. I highly recommend this book. It runs about $25 on Amazon. Again, I'll put a link down at the bottom, but totally worth the purchase, totally worth, educating yourself to the realities of nuclear war. And that's what this, covers. Now, here's one that, again, I found this at the used bookstore, and this is from around the World War II, pre-World War II era, and it's the Fun Encyclopedia. And in this, it teaches you how to build games, how to have fun, how to, I mean, just do all kinds of things, adult parties, kids' parties. I mean, there's just card games, playing games, how, the beanbag corn row or corn toss or whatever that game is called. They have all these different board games and everything that you can actually make and build yourself and everything. But again, a very thick book on basically entertaining, because this book was written during the era of radio, and radio was just coming out and things. And so people really didn't have means to entertain. They didn't have TV, they didn't have movies, they didn't have anything like that. So what did people, especially adults, do when they got together? A lot of adults played games. And so a lot of forgotten information, a lot of forgotten games and fun and entertainment. And the reason I bought this is because, what happens if everything goes out? What happens if there is EMP or whatever? And, we don't have access to what we're so used to. How do we entertain ourselves? How do we, fill our minds and so forth? And so this one, kind of on the hard side. You can probably look it up on Amazon, see if you can find it. It would be a used copy. I don't know how much you would spend on it or anything like that, but this is a great resource on, especially if you got kids, on entertaining. And so not only do they talk about kids games and entertaining kids and all these things that you can do, I mean, it even falls into the adult arena as well. So the Encyclopedia of Fun. And then y'all know that I'm a big fan of staying mentally positive and everything. And another book that I'm actually reading right now, again, Awaken the Giant Within, Tony Robbins. This is Survival for the Brain. And so how do you stay positive? How do you stay motivated? How do you, keep putting one foot in front of the other when the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket? This book helps teach you that. Big one. Now, if you guys are new to the prepping arena, I'm going to do some self-promotion here. Quick Start Guide. I think I got this. This is somewhere like $10 or something like that on Amazon. Very thin, down, dirty basics. If you're new to prepping or people that need to get started on prepping, this is a great little handbook. Again, very inexpensive. So get that. It's by Raymond Moore. Another one, if you're concerned about security and home security, this is a book I wrote called Weaponize, When a Gun is Not the Answer. And the reason I say when a gun is not the answer is because a lot of the information and everything that I pulled from was when I lived in Central America. I lived in Costa Rica and I lived in Panama, did the whole expat thing and everything like that. But down there, you're not allowed to have a gun. And so I had to find alternative means for security, how to protect myself, how to protect my family, so forth and so on. And so a lot of that knowledge is put into this book. I also talk about office security, what you can do, because in an office, you really can't have visible, viable weapons. So what can you do to augment your workspace so that you have weapons at hand, as well then as personal security? So again, buy this on Amazon. Raymond Moore. So, and then finally, something that we are really concerned about right now, and I've been sharing this book with you down in the links below, but this is The Poor Man's Guide to Preserving Your Wealth in an Economic Collapse. And this is something that we are very strongly looking at. And so a lot of my recent coffees with Ray and everything, a lot of the information that I've been talking about and everything is drawn from this book that I wrote. And so not everybody has 401ks. Not everybody has a stock portfolio or anything. So what the heck do you do to preserve your wealth? And so I go into great detail into a lot of things in teaching you how to preserve your wealth. And the biggest thing that I'm really pushing in this book is tangible assets. That's what most of this book consists of. And I really talk a whole bunch about a whole scad of tangible assets. These are things that hold their value no matter what happens. And a lot of the information I pulled from was from the Great Depression. What held value during the Great Depression? I also looked at Argentina. I looked at Venezuela. I looked at some of the other countries, the Weimar Republic, when Germany fell and their currency hyperinflated and everything. And so a lot of the stuff that held value then will hold value now, because people always go back to tangible assets whenever we have an economic collapse. And so again, highly recommend this one as well. I think both of these books are something like 16 bucks, something like that. Amazon always changes the prices on me, so I never really know what the price is exactly. But I thought I'd share some of my survival library, kind of not the most typical things. You know, you think you have a lot of bushcraft and this and that. And yeah, I've got some of those bushcraft books. I have the SCS book. I have the Ranger book. I have the SF book, all these other manuals and everything like that. But I find myself not really going to those too often, where a lot of the books that I've shared with you, I actually go to and reference quite a bit. And so look into some of these books that I've shared with you. Grow your library. It's super, super important. Feed your brain. That's one of the biggest things that I'm really pushing with in my core 4: brain, body, being, and balance. Brain. One of the first things you want to do in the morning is feed your brain. Read a book. Educate yourself. And the more that you're able to feed your brain, the more positive that you're going to be. And if everything negative going on, you're going to be able to survive the coming storm here that is coming here soon. So hopefully this was very helpful for you. Some of you, again, I believe it was Paladin who asked me to share my survival library. So thank you so much, Paladin, for asking that question. You asked, I did. And so if any of you got some questions or anything that you want to me to expand upon or anything like that, please put them in the comments below or email me at ray@raymondmoore.com, MHOR.com, ray@raymondmoore.com. And I'll be glad to answer your questions, help you any way that I can. That is my goal and purpose, is to really help the prepper community, because I want allies more than enemies. And I want to really focus on realistic prepping for real people. So that's everything. Do me a favor, if you're new here, like, subscribe, share, and then ring that little bell so you get notified whenever I do post a new video or go live. And then that way you're always notified or can come and join our wonderful community, which I love very much. So again, thank you so much, Lori, Chantel, Kim, Lori. A lot of questions here. Chantel, these are on my list. Amazing what you all is bad for you. I remember the movie. Yeah. So, but thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it very much. Raymond Moore, Killed the Prepper. We'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. And till dawn.